There are times in everyone's life when their own words turn against them. Paradoxically, the very phrases we say most often can cause misunderstandings and even conflicts. However, there are people among us who have a special gift: magnetism. Their presence is felt instantly, even if they do not utter a word. This is not an accident, but the result of a conscious strategy. While most people seek to speak up, justify, and explain their actions, these individuals prefer to remain silent, observe, and wait. They create an aura of mystery around them, keeping others guessing about their thoughts and intentions. These people have the unique ability to read the environment without uttering a word. They enter a room and immediately determine who is in charge, who feels insecure, and who is bluffing. They pick up on unspoken tension, lies hidden behind smiles, and intentions disguised as politeness. These people are born strategists. Their secret is not magic or supernatural abilities, but the ability to observe the world around them deeply and carefully. In today's world, overflowing with information noise, where everyone wants to make a statement, the true art of listening is becoming increasingly rare and valuable. It is a common misconception that dominating the conversation is the key to control, but true power is centered in the hands of those who know how to remain silent and observe carefully. The great strategist Sun Tzu argued that knowing your opponent and yourself is the key to success in any battle. But knowing others requires more than just words. It requires the ability to perceive the unspoken. Many people mistakenly believe that observation is reduced to mere contemplation. But seeing is not the same as observing. Observation involves getting to the heart of things, the ability to grasp hidden nuances. It is the ability to notice a fleeting hesitation before an answer, a subtle change in the gaze, the tension in the shoulders of a person trying to appear relaxed, or a change in intonation that betrays hidden uncertainty. Words can be deceptive, but body language almost always reveals the truth. Niccolò Machiavelli, an astute political thinker, was keenly aware of this truth. For him, the power play was not only about the ability to speak, but also the ability to interpret gestures, actions, and omissions. A true strategist does not rely on words, but on details that are revealed in the minutiae. A leader who praises the team but avoids eye contact. A friend who promises support but crosses his arms and retreats in a moment of need. A person who smiles but immediately presses his lips tightly together to hide unspoken thoughts. A colleague who agrees with you but points his feet toward the exit, showing his readiness to leave. A leader who claims confidence but keeps his shoulders tense and makes restless hand movements. True relevance often eludes loud statements, manifesting itself in subtle gestures, eloquent pauses, and meaningful understatements. If even a few words can reveal much, one can imagine how predictable and vulnerable those who tend to be overly talkative and impulsive, unable to contain their emotions, are. In a chess game, an impatient player, acting without a clear plan, moves pieces recklessly and inevitably falls into the traps set. A similar pattern can be traced in life situations. Surely everyone has noticed people who seem to always know how to act at the right moment, react clearly and without hesitation, as if they had foreseen the development of events in advance. The secret lies not in outstanding intelligence or physical strength, but in a developed ability to perceive. However, observing others is not only a way to understand others, but also an opportunity to know ourselves more deeply. Without recognizing one's own emotional triggers, one becomes easy prey for manipulators. Is being ignored annoying? Does silence in a conversation cause discomfort? Does anxiety build up while waiting for a response? Each of these reactions is a reflection of internal characteristics that a perceptive observer can exploit. Ultimately, not understanding one's own emotions opens the door for those who would not hesitate to use it to gain control. To assess the acuity of their own perception, you can conduct an experiment. To devote a day of total observation. Carefully follow the gestures of interlocutors, catch the slightest nuances of their movements, intonation, timbre of voice, as well as pauses occurring in speech. At the end of such a day, you may discover something very important. Everyone has a thirst to be heard, but few realize the power of silence. There is a vast gulf between those who seek to fill the silence with meaningless words and those who have the wisdom to wait for the right moment. It is this unpredictability that makes silence a valuable ally. Silence is not an act of passivity, but an effective tactic. It allows you to observe what is happening before taking any action, carefully weigh every word, recognize ulterior motives, and disarm your opponents without revealing your own cards. Reacting in a fit of passion is a serious mistake. Speaking impulsively, a person exposes his weaknesses, gives out information that can be used against him, and unwittingly becomes predictable. For Marley, power lay not only in the words spoken, but also in what was intentionally left behind the scenes. A ruler who abuses his speeches becomes hostage to his own words. A strategist who prematurely reveals his plans is deprived of an advantage. In situations where an individual is trying to provoke, the initiator of the conflict counts on the emotional reaction. By exerting pressure, the ill-wisher seeks to deprive a person of mental balance. However, by remaining silent, it is possible to nullify the efforts of the manipulator. Lack of response makes the opponent doubt his own correctness, filling the resulting void with personal fears and doubts. This tactic is applicable in various scenarios, from heated arguments and business negotiations to interpersonal relationships. Often the absence of words is more powerful than the most persuasive speech. Silence is also a powerful tool of self-control. In critical moments, the one who keeps his cool immediately becomes the center of attention. In chaos, when everyone is making noise, shouting, and imposing their point of view, the observer who does not give in to panic radiates confidence and authority. Being overly talkative can be a rash move that puts one at a disadvantage, but mastering the art of silence goes beyond simply stopping talking. It is the ability to withstand the discomfort that comes from silence, both one's own and that of others. Silence can be uncomfortable because it forces one to come face to face with one's thoughts. However, it is in this inner space that true strength lies. In a modern world filled with noise and constant distractions, it's worth trying to take just 15 minutes a day of absolute silence. Put your phone aside, turn off the music, and eliminate anything that can distract your attention. Be alone with yourself and your thoughts. It may seem unfamiliar at first, but over time you will notice that the more you get used to silence, the less you are bothered by the silence of others. Silence is not just the absence of sounds, it is the presence of a special state. It is not a sign of weakness, but a strategic tool that can be a powerful weapon if used skillfully. There is a special power that needs no words to make itself known. It is born in silence, in empty space, in the doubt that arises in a person who expects an answer and does not receive it. Silence, used intentionally, becomes an instrument of control. It creates an aura of mystery, causes others to project their own thoughts and feelings, causes discomfort, and ultimately encourages the interlocutor to fill the resulting void. People who understand this dynamic can become true masters of manipulation, skillfully using silence to their advantage. In his treatise on the art of war, Sun Tzu emphasized that at the heart of any military campaign lies the art of disinformation. One of the most sophisticated techniques of deception, in his opinion, is silence, a way to mislead the enemy without resorting to outright lies. In the context of a negotiation, for example, the side that can restrain its words often gains a significant advantage. Those who seek to fill the silence with a flood of words unwittingly demonstrate their nervousness, reveal confidential information, and prematurely reveal their plans. At the same time, those who master the art of silence force their opponent to say more, revealing their doubts and sometimes unconsciously making concessions. Silence creates an atmosphere of tension that can be skillfully used to put pressure on the opponent without resorting to shouting and threats. Leaders shrouded in a shroud of secrecy, as a rule, enjoy great authority and respect. Their unpredictability makes it difficult to attempt to manipulate them. People whose actions and thoughts are easy to foresee, who always express their opinions openly and react instantly, become easy prey for manipulators. However, those who leave questions unanswered, who skillfully use strategic pauses, who do not rush to reveal their emotions and intentions, have invisible power over others. Often silence becomes a form of censure. In conflict situations and interpersonal relationships, the lack of response sometimes hurts more than barbed remarks. In a situation where a person expects a response, and in response receives only silence, there comes a deep disappointment. Psychologists explain this by the human need for completeness. We need to understand the thoughts and intentions of others in order to complete certain stages of interaction, to realize what is happening, but when we are denied this, we are forced to live in a state of uncertainty. People who realize this feature of human psychology are able to use silence to manage the feelings of others. However, abusing such a tactic turns it into a cruel tool. It can cause feelings of isolation, undermine confidence, and create emotional dependency as people desperately seek the slightest sign of attention. Skilled manipulators resort to a similar technique. They alternate periods of attention with prolonged ignoring, forcing the other person to struggle to regain their favor. This strategy forms a vicious circle of subjugation and striving, drawing the victim into a psychological game where he or she becomes a pawn in someone else's hands. Silence is far from a neutral position, but a powerful tool in the arsenal of power and domination. It can be used to maintain the appearance of calm and the realization of strategic goals, but also to sow confusion, punish the unwanted, and skillfully manipulate others. The ability to discern when to keep silence and when to break it is a key skill that distinguishes those who manage situations from those who are being managed. But how do you master this art? Sometimes the absence of words speaks much louder than the most emphatic speeches. In the complex world of the struggle for influence, winning is not always about moving forward. Sometimes it is about stepping back in time to allow your opponent to make his own assumptions and get lost in conjecture. Impact is achieved not through direct presence, but through absence. When used skillfully, silence becomes an element that can create tension, grab attention, and destabilize those who expect predictability. In cinematography, a well-executed pause can be far more disturbing and memorable than a loud scream. In the visual arts, an empty space on a canvas can be as expressive as the paint applied. Similar principles apply in human relationships and power dynamics, where the ability to master silence becomes a valuable asset. Deliberate disappearance from the field of vision of others is a powerful tool that can arouse keen interest and prompt a wide variety of assumptions, because the vacuum created by absence is inevitably filled by other people's speculations, fears, and hopes. The great ancient strategist Sun Tzu, in his immortal treatise The Art of War, emphasized that the true victory lies not in a direct clash, but in the ability to deprive the enemy of the essence of the conflict. Instead of a frontal attack, a wise commander will prefer to retreat, luring the enemy into a trap where he will waste his forces. This principle is reflected in many life situations, from verbal battles, where meaningful silence disarms the opponent, to interpersonal relationships, where time distance helps the partner to realize the true value of the other person. Niccolò Machiavelli, a perceptive Renaissance thinker, elaborates on this idea, arguing that a ruler who is constantly in plain sight becomes predictable and loses his aura of mystery, while a timely retreat only strengthens his authority by making his absence tangible. People tend to underestimate a leader whose presence becomes commonplace, and conversely, highly value one whose appearance seems to be a rare and significant event. The power hidden in inaction often goes unnoticed. In today's world, where everyone strives for maximum publicity, where every second of silence is perceived as a missed opportunity, those who master the art of retreat stand out from the crowd without the slightest effort. Absence is a multifaceted phenomenon that can generate feelings ranging from reverence and awe to acute desire. The key to understanding its impact lies in the motivations behind it. Think of how the sudden disappearance of a friend from the virtual space of social networks instantly awakens general curiosity about his or her whereabouts. Or how a delayed reply from a colleague makes others languish in anticipation, fueling interest. Even briefly ignoring messages from a new acquaintance can make you think of him or her constantly. Silence and inaccessibility play with our perceptions, causing us to rethink the value of familiar things. When something is no longer readily available, we begin to notice its virtues that we previously overlooked. However, such tactics require delicate control. Overindulging in it can have the opposite effect, repelling people instead of attracting them. Too much inaccessibility risks oblivion. The secret lies in the ability to find balance, in pinpointing the moments to disappear and return to create a void and fill it. Careful observation of the situation before action gives us a strategic advantage. By avoiding impulsive reactions, we protect ourselves from emotional manipulation. Remaining silent in the face of provocation confuses those who expect an immediate response. Creating a veil of secrecy makes us less predictable and therefore more resistant to manipulation attempts. However, it should be recognized that achieving this level of self-discipline is not an easy task, requiring constant work on oneself, which not everyone is ready for. If you want to bring this ancient wisdom into your life, start with small steps. Improve the art of observation. Instead of reacting hastily or intervening, try just listening carefully. Pay attention to facial expressions, gestures, pauses in speech, because sometimes silence says much more than words. Evaluate the strength of pauses in the dialogue, moments of indecision, which can reveal the true intentions of the interlocutor. In any situation when there is an impulsive desire to speak out without thinking about your words, restrain it. And most importantly, try to reduce excessive self-disclosure, whether on social media, in everyday interactions, or in tense moments. Observe what happens when you become less available to others. Silence, used wisely, can transform how others perceive you, as well as change your own sense of self. It builds self-control and inner strength. Those who have not learned to manage their silence risk being at the mercy of the chaotic noise of the world around them. If the topics touched upon seem interesting to you and you seek a deeper understanding of life issues, it is suggested to subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new materials. In addition, the author encourages you to share this video with those who are also in search of spiritual awakening and self-knowledge.